Good afternoon. My name is Bill Gunther, and I've prepared an Ignite presentation for you detailing how we can use Skype to communicate from student to student, or student to teacher, or teacher to teacher outside of the classroom instead of just inside the class. Skype can be a really great tool that can be used to help people stay in contact with one another, and it can be used for voice calls, video chats, group chats among multiple people, the capability of sharing screens, recording those screen recordings, and then sharing those recordings. The ability to be able to record these conversations and share them is a huge benefit of this tech. It allows instructors to monitor these conversations almost in real time and actively participate or just observe the conversations so that they can monitor comprehension. This tech would be a great tool to use in a project-based learning capacity in, say, a high school foreign language class. Students can choose a partner to work with throughout the year, and to begin, they can have a monthly or bi-weekly chat with the teacher who can model proper conversational skills in that language and allow students to learn through observation and participation. Once a week, students would have to have a 5 to 10-minute conversation with their partner outside of class using Skype while speaking in a different language to fully immerse themselves in it. The conversations held between students can be recorded and shared with the teacher, which is also done through Skype for review and grading. Teachers would be able to design a rubric that's used to grade students' performance based on things like vocabulary, syntax, fluency, and complexity of the sentence structure. The topics of conversation that the students use can change from week to week depending on the area of study at that time to ensure that there's some diversity in the conversations and that students aren't just asking each other how they're doing that day and responding that they're fine. For example, one week the activity could be about a person navigating a new city. The next week the activity could be about that person ordering from a menu in a foreign restaurant. Students will have to discuss these topics or use some kind of role-playing objectives to demonstrate their linguistic skills. For example, maybe one student needs to act like they are new to the country and they need to find a place to eat. The other student can offer directions on how to get there. The next week could be about ordering a meal within that restaurant to really give students the full experience of being in another country. One of the Common Core standards that this tech helps satisfy is for comprehension and collaboration, having students participate effectively in a range of collaborative discussions with diverse partners on grades 9 through 10 topics, texts, and issues, and build on each other's ideas. The other Common Core standard that this tech would help satisfy discusses propelling conversations for students by having them pose and respond to questions that relate to the current discussion and broader themes or larger ideas. We want them to actively incorporate others into the discussion as well. Major goal of utilizing this technology is to get students to interact with each other. We want to be able to have them do that and learn a new literacy, which is this new method of video chatting and group video chats. We want them to familiarize themselves with actually speaking the language and not just reading and writing it. The learning theory that drives this project is associated with Albert Bandura's work in the 60s regarding social learning theory, which explains how people learn new behaviors and attitudes by observing their peers. He agrees with the behaviorist theory of learning, but he adds a bit more to it by saying that learning is done through observation. In today's society, children are surrounded by different influential models, like their parents, their friends, and their teachers. And those models provide examples of behavior that the children observe and then later imitate. And children are more likely to imitate those whom they perceive being similar to themselves. Whenever children choose to imitate these types of behaviors, there's usually a response given to the child by an adult. If the response is positive, it's likely the child will continue this behavior. If the response is negative, it's likely that the child may not continue that behavior if they know that a consequence is coming behind it. The overall objective of this is to get students to mimic the instructor and their linguistic skills and use what they've learned to build on those skills with one another to progress towards an ability to fluently speak another language. The tech in this project can be used as a research model to determine how effective Skype truly is for students. By designing a study that compares overall scores and observational data between the two groups, we can determine student comprehension of a new language. The control group for this study would be a randomly assigned group of students who do not use Skype to facilitate these conversations and have them in class instead, while the instructor observes each group in person. The experimental group would be the group that uses the tech. Both groups would have their weekly conversations used to track their progress and make improvements during the year, and both will be assessed at the end of the year via a verbal practicum with the instructor using the rubric as the method of grading. All of this to say that Skype could be a really great tool to help foster collaboration between students in a foreign language class, but could also be used to encourage that collaboration in other subject areas as well. I hope some of you get to try this tool, and I wish you the best of luck. Thanks and have a great day.